The greatest truth most people forget is this: you cannot win by chasing everything outside of you. The world will pull at your attention, constantly pushing you to compare, to compete with shadows, to measure yourself against others who walk their own path. This endless comparison destroys focus and drains your strength. You were not created to live someone else's life. You were not born to run a race that belongs to another person. The path you are meant to walk begins within you, and the only way to walk it with power is to turn inward and commit to building yourself, no matter how loud the noise around you becomes. The world is full of distractions designed to pull you away from who you are meant to be. Social pressure, opinions, criticism, and temptations surround you. They call for your attention and attempt to make you forget your own mission. But true success never bows to the noise of the crowd. True success is born in the mind of someone who decides to stay unshaken, who chooses to focus entirely on their own growth, their own discipline, their own calling. You cannot give energy to every voice, every opinion, every distraction, and still expect to rise to greatness. The more you scatter yourself, the weaker you become. The more you discipline yourself to stay locked in on your own improvement, the stronger you grow. Focus is not just about ignoring others. It is about turning all the energy you once wasted on worry and doubt back onto yourself. It is about asking each day, how can I get stronger? How can I think clearer? How can I sharpen my discipline? When you keep your mind fixed on these questions, you stop being a prisoner to circumstances. You stop being a victim of outside influences. You start to realize that your destiny is built by the quiet, daily decision to invest in yourself. Every hour you give to growth compounds into power that cannot be taken from you. Most people lose because they never learn this. They chase recognition, they beg for approval, they try to impress others who do not even care. They waste years of their life trying to fit into molds that were never made for them. They look outside hoping that someone else will hand them the confidence, the opportunity, or the breakthrough. But the truth is harsh and liberating at the same time. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to give you the keys to your own success. You must build it yourself, and the only way to do that is to pour your focus into the one thing you can control, you. Think of what happens when a magnifying glass is held to the sun. The light that was scattered suddenly becomes a single burning point of power. That focused energy can ignite a flame strong enough to burn through anything. That is exactly what happens when you take all the energy you waste on others and direct it into yourself. You create fire. You create momentum. You create an unstoppable force that moves you forward even when the world seems against you. Without that focus, your energy is scattered like weak light that cannot touch anything. With it, you become a force impossible to ignore. The forgotten truth of focus is that it is not an option, it is a necessity. If you want to rise, if you want to win, if you want to live a life that cannot be shaken, you must learn to keep your eyes locked on your own path. Do not chase them. Do not try to outrun them. Do not try to silence them. Simply turn your attention inward and grow until you are unrecognizable. That is how true victories are built, not by being louder than the world, but by being stronger within yourself. The greatest victories in life are not won on the outside, they are won on the inside. Success begins in the unseen, in the quiet space of your own thoughts where no one is watching. Before you can conquer the world, you must first conquer yourself. You cannot control every circumstance, every obstacle, or every challenge life throws at you, but you can always control the way you respond. You can decide what thoughts to accept and what thoughts to reject. You can decide whether to allow fear to rule you or discipline to strengthen you. Mastery of the inner world is what separates those who rise from those who crumble. It is not talent, not luck, not even opportunity, but the ability to discipline the mind that creates power. Every achievement you see in life was first a thought planted in the soil of someone's mind. That thought was watered with belief, protected with persistence, and guarded against doubt. The people who win are not always the strongest or the smartest. They are the ones who refuse to let their mind betray them. They silence the noise of fear, they dismiss the whispers of failure, and they focus only on the vision they hold within. This is why inner mastery is so rare, because most people lose the battle against themselves before they ever begin the battle with the world. They become victims of their own doubts, prisoners of their own emotions, and slaves to their own distractions. The moment you learn to control your thoughts, you become unstoppable. When the storm comes, you remain centered. When others panic, you stay calm. When obstacles appear, you do not ask, "Why me?" You ask instead, "How can I grow stronger because of this?" This shift is the foundation of mastery. No outside enemy can defeat you if your inner world is unshakable. But if your mind is weak, even the smallest challenge will destroy you. That is why the first and greatest victory is self-mastery. Every distraction you resist, every temptation you overcome, every negative thought you replace with a positive one, these are silent battles, but they are the very battles that determine your destiny. Imagine two people facing the same problem. One allows fear to consume them, and they quit. The other turns inward, focuses their mind, and says, "This obstacle will not break me." Who do you think wins? The answer is always the one who mastered themselves. Success belongs to those who train their minds like a warrior trains their body. Your discipline, your persistence, and your ability to command your thoughts will always matter more than circumstances. When you learn this, you no longer look outward for strength. You no longer wait for conditions to be perfect. You create strength within, and from that strength, you build a life no obstacle can shake. The need for approval is one of the greatest poisons to growth. When you spend your energy chasing validation, you hand over control of your life to the opinions of others. You become like a puppet, pulled by strings you cannot see. One smile lifts you up, one criticism tears you down. This is not freedom, it is weakness. External validation makes you forget who you truly are, because instead of building a life rooted in your own vision, you mold yourself into whatever pleases the crowd. But the crowd is never satisfied. The moment you live for their applause, you become a slave to their judgment. They will cheer one day and laugh the next. If your sense of worth is built on what others say, you will spend your life running in circles, forever chasing something that cannot last. Think about the energy wasted in seeking approval. You post something, say something, achieve something, and then you wait for the reaction. You wait for the likes, the comments, the compliments. Every ounce of power that should have gone into building yourself is instead poured into waiting for a response from outside. This habit silently destroys ambition. It steals the time and focus that could have been invested in self-improvement. The more you feed the hunger for validation, the emptier you feel, because external approval is never enough. It is like drinking salt water. It may feel satisfying for a moment, but it only leaves you thirstier. True strength comes from turning inward, from validating yourself through action, through discipline, and through the quiet progress no one else sees. The danger of external validation is not just in wasting energy, it is in building a false identity. When you live for others, you start making choices that are not aligned with your purpose. You say yes when you should say no. You stay silent when you should speak. You hold back when you should act, all because you fear losing approval. And slowly, piece by piece, you lose yourself. You wake up one day and realize you are no longer living your own life, but a performance scripted by other people's opinions. That is not victory. That is defeat dressed in temporary applause. No one who truly succeeds in life ever did so by chasing validation. They succeeded because they stayed true to their vision, even when no one understood, even when no one clapped, even when they stood alone. If you want to rise, you must free yourself from this poison. You must learn to act without waiting for recognition. You must work without needing applause. You must focus on progress that cannot be seen by others but transforms you from the inside. Validation that comes from within cannot be taken away. When you know who you are, when you trust your path, when you validate yourself through discipline and persistence, you no longer beg the world for approval. Instead, the world has no choice but to notice the strength you built in silence. The greatest victories are not won in the spotlight, they are won in the shadows, when you no longer care if anyone is watching, because you know the only validation that matters is the one you give yourself. Confidence is not something handed to you by the world, it is something you build within yourself. Many people wait their whole lives for someone else to tell them they are good enough, smart enough, or talented enough, but this is why they never rise. Confidence cannot come from applause or recognition, because the moment that applause fades, so does their sense of worth. True confidence is forged in silence when you trust yourself, even when no one else does. It is built every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you push through discomfort, every time you refuse to quit when it would have been easier to walk away. It is the quiet evidence that you are capable, that you can endure, that you can overcome. The mistake most people make is believing confidence is a feeling. They think they must feel confident before they act. That is not how it works. Confidence is not the cause of action, it is the result of it. You act even when you are uncertain. You push forward even when fear whispers in your ear. You take steps into the unknown, not because you are fearless, but because you refuse to let fear control you. And each time you do this, your belief in yourself grows stronger. Confidence is simply self-trust. It is the deep knowing that you can rely on yourself no matter the situation, and that knowing comes from action, not waiting, not wishing, not hoping for someone else's approval. When you commit to your own path, confidence begins to grow naturally. You stop depending on others to tell you who you are. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission. You stop needing proof before you believe in yourself. Instead, you create proof through persistence. You create evidence through discipline. You create confidence by doing the things that scare you, the things that stretch you, the things that make you doubt yourself, until one day you realize doubt has no power over you anymore. Is how confidence is built, not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to act despite it. There will be moments when you question yourself, when setbacks make you wonder if you are capable, when failures whisper that you should quit. But these are not signs of weakness. They are the very moments in which unshakable confidence is forged. Every struggle you face is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you can rise. Every obstacle is a chance to strengthen your belief. Confidence grows in adversity because it is tested, stretched, and refined. The more you endure, the more unbreakable it becomes. And once you build this kind of confidence, no one can take it from you. No opinion, no rejection, no failure can shake it, because it is not rooted in the unstable soil of external approval. It is rooted in the unshakable foundation of your own self-trust. The greatest enemy of progress is not always failure or weakness. It is distraction. Distraction is silent. It sneaks into your life without warning, and it robs you of the one resource you can never get back, time. Every moment you give away to meaningless noise, every hour lost to mindless habits, every day wasted in the pursuit of things that do not matter. These are the weapons of distraction, and while you may not feel their damage immediately, they slowly eat away at your future. Greatness requires undivided attention, and the truth is simple. You cannot build anything powerful if your focus is divided. Discipline means making the hard choice to eliminate what does not serve you, even when it is comfortable, even when it is tempting, even when everyone around you is indulging in it. Distraction is not just about technology, entertainment, or idle conversations. The most dangerous distractions are the ones that feel productive but are not. They are the endless plans without execution, the search for shortcuts that lead nowhere, the constant switching between tasks without finishing any of them. These distractions disguise themselves as progress, but in reality, they prevent you from digging deep enough to make real breakthroughs. True focus is choosing one thing, locking in and refusing to quit until it is mastered. Every time you scatter your attention, you weaken your ability to achieve. Every time you reclaim your focus, you strengthen the muscle of persistence. The war against distraction is not fought once, it is fought daily. Every morning you wake up, you must decide where your attention will go. Will it be consumed by noise, or will it be directed toward growth? Your life is the sum of what you repeatedly focus on. If you give your best energy to distractions, do not be surprised when your results are small. But if you protect your attention like it is your greatest treasure, you will see results most people only dream about. The truth is, focus is rare in a world full of noise, but rarity is what makes it powerful. If you can master your focus, you can outwork, outlast, and outperform nearly everyone, not because you are more talented, but because you refuse to waste what they waste. You must learn to say no, even when it is uncomfortable. You must cut away what is not serving your vision, even when it feels difficult. You must guard your focus as if your future depends on it, because it does. Every empire is built brick by brick, and those bricks are laid with focus. Every distraction you eliminate gives you the strength to lay one more brick, one more step toward victory. In the end, your results will not be determined by how much you wanted success, but by how many distractions you defeated along the way. This is the war every achiever must fight, and it is the war that defines whether you rise or remain average. Comparison is a silent thief. It creeps into your mind and convinces you that what you have is not enough, that who you are is not enough, that the progress you are making is too small compared to someone else. It blinds you to your own path by constantly pulling your attention to the paths of others. You scroll, you look, you measure, and each time you do, a piece of your own vision is weakened. The truth is that comparison destroys focus, and without focus, greatness becomes impossible. You are not meant to live someone else's story. You are not designed to run someone else's race. The only person you are meant to surpass is the person you were yesterday. The danger of comparison is that it creates illusions. You see the results of others without seeing the sacrifices behind them. You see the highlight without seeing the struggle. You compare your behind the scenes with someone else's final product, and of course it looks unfair. But this illusion blinds you to the reality that everyone's journey is different. Some started earlier, some had different resources, some took different paths. None of that matters because your mission is not theirs. Your mission is uniquely yours, and every time you waste energy measuring it against someone else's, you delay your own progress. What should be time spent building is instead wasted wishing. What should be energy spent improving is instead drained envying. The only true measure of success is growth. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Have you gained more discipline, more strength, more clarity? This is the only comparison that matters, because it keeps you aligned with your own path. If you focus on being 1% better each day, you will eventually outgrow every limitation. But if you constantly look sideways, you will stumble. A runner who keeps turning their head to see who is behind them will eventually slow down or fall. The same happens in life. Comparison shifts your eyes off your goal and puts them on things that cannot move you forward. Free yourself from this trap by remembering that success is not a competition. It is a process of becoming. The world does not need another copy. It needs the fullest version of you. When you shift your focus back to your own progress, you regain your power. You no longer care who is ahead or behind because you realize they cannot walk your path and you cannot walk theirs. You understand that every ounce of energy belongs to your growth, your discipline, your persistence. The unseen enemy of comparison loses its grip the moment you decide that the only battle worth fighting is the one against your former self. When you defeat that version daily, when you rise above who you were yesterday, you are already winning, and no one else's race can take that away from you. Persistence is the dividing line between those who dream and those who achieve. Most people give up not because the goal is impossible, but because they lose patience when results do not come quickly enough. They start with excitement, but when the journey demands sacrifice, when the progress slows, when the rewards are delayed, they surrender. Yet those who persist, those who refuse to stop even when everything in them screams to quit, are the ones who eventually win. Persistence is not glamorous. It is not celebrated, because it often happens in silence when no one is watching. It is the daily decision to keep moving forward, step after step, even when the ground beneath you feels heavy and the finish line feels distant. The truth is that every great victory is hidden inside the long stretch of struggle that tests your will. Persistence is the ability to endure that stretch without breaking. It is saying to yourself, I will keep going no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times I fail, no matter how many doors close on me. Each time you persist through failure, you grow stronger. Each time you keep going through rejection, your will becomes sharper. Every setback that does not break you becomes proof that you are unbreakable. Persistence is not about speed. It is about endurance. It does not matter how slowly you move. As long as you refuse to stop, you are still advancing. The world often underestimates persistence because it is quiet. It is not flashy like talent, not immediate like luck, not loud like opportunity. But persistence outlasts them all. Talent fades when it is not nurtured, luck runs out, opportunity is wasted if not seized. But persistence keeps grinding, keeps building, keeps pushing until eventually the walls break. Many quit right before the breakthrough, not realizing that persistence had already placed them inches from success. They walk away too soon, leaving behind the reward that belonged to them. But those who stay, those who keep digging, those who keep swinging, even when the stone does not seem to crack, eventually see results that others can only envy. This is the law of persistence. If you refuse to stop, you cannot lose. Life may delay your victory, but it cannot deny it. Every day you persist, you move closer. Every time you rise after falling, you prove that defeat has no final say over you. And when the day finally comes that your persistence turns into visible success, people will call it luck. They will call it talent. They will call it opportunity. But you will know the truth. It was persistence, the relentless refusal to quit, that carried you through. And that truth will make your victory unshakable, because it was built not on chance, but on the unbreakable will to keep going until the end. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. In a world that is constantly shouting, constantly demanding attention, constantly pushing noise into your mind, silence becomes your greatest weapon. It is in silence that you hear your own thoughts clearly. It is in silence that your vision sharpens, your purpose deepens, and your inner strength grows. Noise distracts, but silence builds. When you are silent, you are not wasting energy explaining, proving, or defending yourself. You are directing that energy inward, using it to grow, to strategize, to prepare. Greatness is never born from constant noise. It is born from the quiet discipline of someone who knows when to withdraw, when to keep plans hidden, and when to act only after the foundation has been built in stillness. People often believe they need to announce everything, to talk about every plan, every goal, every move. But silence protects you. When you share too much, you expose your vision to doubt, to envy, to negativity. The wrong words spoken over your dreams can plant seeds of hesitation in your mind, seeds that weaken your focus. That is why silence is a shield. It guards your vision until it is strong enough to stand on its own. When you work quietly, no one can interfere. When you grow in silence, no one can sabotage the process. Your progress becomes undeniable only when it is complete, when the results speak for themselves. And results spoken by action will always be louder than words spoken prematurely. Silence also sharpens your discipline. In silence, you are forced to face yourself without distraction. You hear the excuses in your mind, and you have no choice but to confront them. You feel the weight of procrastination, and you must either surrender or rise above it. In silence, there is no escape from the truth of your own habits and your own mindset. But this is where transformation happens, when you stop running from yourself and face the reality of who you are becoming. This process is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Silence is not weakness. It is the training ground for strength. When you learn the power of silence, you no longer waste time seeking validation. You no longer announce what you will do, you simply do it. You no longer explain yourself to people who do not understand your vision, because you realize their understanding is not required. Silence gives you freedom. It frees you from the need to be seen at every stage. It frees you from the pressure of expectation. It frees you from the noise of doubt. And when the time comes to step forward, your actions will carry the weight of someone who built their strength in silence. Someone who prepared in the shadows until they were ready to shine. That is the true power of silence. It makes your results undeniable and your presence unshakable, because it was born not from noise, but from quiet, focused strength. Wealth is often misunderstood. Most people think of it only in terms of money, possessions, or status, but true wealth begins within. If you gain riches on the outside without building strength on the inside, you will eventually lose it all. But when you build inner wealth, discipline, wisdom, resilience, clarity of mind, you create a foundation that cannot be destroyed. Money can vanish. Opportunities can disappear. People can leave. But the wealth inside you remains. This is the kind of wealth that attracts success naturally, because it shapes you into the kind of person who can handle it. The stronger you become within, the more capable you are of building and keeping everything that comes to you. Inner wealth is built through habits, choices, and the small victories no one sees. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you add to your wealth. Every time you learn instead of wasting time, you add to your wealth. Every time you keep going when it would be easier to quit, you add to your wealth. These invisible deposits compound over time, turning you into someone who cannot be broken by circumstances. True success is never about what you acquire. It is about what you become. And when you become strong on the inside, everything on the outside begins to align with it. The danger of focusing only on external wealth is that it can blind you to your weaknesses. Many people chase money before building the character required to manage it. They may achieve success for a moment, but because they lack discipline, they lose it. They may gain recognition, but because they lack humility, it destroys them. They may build influence, but because they lack wisdom, it collapses. Without inner wealth, outer wealth is unstable. But when you build yourself first, you become unshakable. You develop the patience to endure, the clarity to choose wisely, and the strength to carry the weight of success without falling under it. Building inner wealth is not about seeking quick rewards. It is about becoming someone who cannot be stopped. It is about being so disciplined that distractions no longer control you. It is about being so wise that you do not waste time chasing illusions. It is about being so resilient that setbacks only sharpen your determination. When you live with this kind of wealth, you no longer fear loss because you know you can rebuild anything from within. You no longer envy others because you know you carry something greater, an inner strength that cannot be taken. This is the wealth that makes outer success inevitable. When you focus on building yourself, wealth in every form, financial, spiritual, emotional, will eventually flow to you because you will become the kind of person who can create and sustain it. Pain is inevitable. Life will test you in ways you cannot predict, in moments you do not expect, and in forms that feel unbearable. But pain is not your enemy. It is raw material. Every struggle, every setback, every loss carries within it the seed of power. The people who succeed are not those who avoid suffering. They are those who learn to use it, who turn the weight of hardship into fuel for growth. Pain teaches lessons that comfort never can. It reveals weaknesses, exposes areas that need strengthening, and forces you to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. When you learn to embrace it instead of resisting it, pain becomes a teacher, a guide, and a motivator. The world wants you to run from discomfort, to numb yourself to the challenges that life places before you. Society praises ease, convenience, and avoidance. But growth never comes from ease. True transformation comes from facing what terrifies you, from enduring what breaks you, and from refusing to surrender to the weight of difficulty. Every trial you face is an opportunity to build resilience, to sharpen your mind, and to strengthen your character. When you face pain head-on, you begin to understand that it does not define you, but it refines you. Each challenge you overcome leaves you stronger, more capable, and more determined than before. Turning pain into power requires a mindset shift. Instead of asking, why me, you must ask, what can I learn? How can I grow? How can I use this to fuel my rise? Victorious people do not waste energy on resentment or self-pity. They convert their suffering into drive, their heartbreak into clarity, and their failure into motivation. The energy that others pour into anger or despair is the same energy you can channel into progress. Pain is heavy, but when lifted and redirected, it becomes a force that pushes you forward faster than comfort ever could. It is not just a challenge, it is a tool, a hidden ally waiting for you to wield it. Every setback, every disappointment, every loss carries a lesson disguised as difficulty. The more you endure, the more powerful you become. Pain tests your limits, but it also shows you that limits are meant to be broken. Those who use pain as power understand that life's harshest moments are not obstacles. They are accelerators. They push you to rise above mediocrity, to cultivate unshakable strength, and to focus relentlessly on becoming the person you were meant to be. When you transform suffering into energy, you create momentum that no circumstance can stop, no setback can reverse, and no failure can diminish. Pain becomes not a burden, but the very engine of your triumph. The unbreakable will is the defining force of every person who achieves greatness. It is not talent, not opportunity, not luck, but an inner determination that refuses to be defeated. Life will throw challenges that seem insurmountable, obstacles that appear impossible, and moments when every part of you wants to quit. But the person with an unbreakable will does not bend. They do not crumble under pressure. They do not allow circumstances to dictate their path. Instead, they rise, they endure, they push forward, and they refuse to let anything or anyone break their spirit. Will is the invisible muscle that grows strongest when it is tested, stretched, and challenged, and it is the cornerstone of every lasting victory. The world respects power, but it fears persistence. An unbreakable will is forged in the crucible of struggle, in moments when giving up would have been easier, in moments when doubt tries to claim your mind. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act despite it. Every time you refuse to surrender to adversity, every time you take action when your body or mind wants to stop, your will becomes stronger. Each challenge you endure, each obstacle you face, is a weight that, instead of crushing you, strengthens you from within. The unbreakable will is not born in comfort. It is forged in the fire of persistence and tested in the storm of difficulty. An unbreakable will means that nothing external can shake you. Failures will come, but they will not define you. Criticism will arise, but it will not control you. Loss will strike, but it will not defeat you. Those with an unbreakable will know that setbacks are temporary, that challenges are teachers, and that strength is built in response to resistance. They understand that life is a test of endurance and that true victory belongs to the person who refuses to quit. Strength is not shown when everything is easy. It is revealed when everything is falling apart and you still stand. The unbreakable will carries you through the storms that break others, and it positions you to claim victories that most cannot even imagine. To cultivate an unbreakable will, you must first commit to yourself. You must set your mind on your goal so firmly that no obstacle, no distraction, no voice of doubt can alter your course. You must act daily with determination, discipline, and unwavering focus. You must refuse to let temporary setbacks derail your vision. Every time you face discomfort and choose to persevere, every time you encounter resistance and decide to push forward, your will grows stronger. It becomes impossible to break because it is not dependent on circumstances. It is anchored in the deep knowledge that you will rise no matter what. The unbreakable will is the engine of victory, the silent force behind unstoppable progress, and the foundation upon which every lasting success is built. The day of victory is not a sudden miracle. It is the inevitable result of relentless focus, unwavering discipline, and unshakable persistence. It is the day when all the effort you poured into yourself, all the sacrifices you made in silence, and all the challenges you endured finally converge into undeniable results. It may not come on the schedule you expect. It may not arrive with fanfare or applause, but when it comes, it will arrive as the natural consequence of the person you have become. The day of victory is not given to those who coast, who quit, or who depend on luck. It belongs to the one who committed fully to themselves, to their mission, and to the growth of their own mind and character. Victory often comes quietly at first, almost imperceptibly. It may begin with small changes, a clarity in thinking, a breakthrough in discipline, a shift in perspective. But these small victories accumulate, and one day they become unstoppable momentum. The person who has focused on themselves does not need to chase recognition because their results speak for themselves. People will notice the strength, the skill, the perseverance that has been silently cultivated over time. The respect and acknowledgement of others are not the reason for your success. They are merely reflections of the power you have built internally. What matters is that you have become someone who cannot be denied, someone whose presence and results command attention simply because you refuse to settle for mediocrity. The day of victory also brings clarity. When you look back on your journey, you see the battles fought in silence, the struggles endured, and the moments when giving up would have been easy. You recognize that every obstacle was a teacher, every setback was a stepping stone, and every trial was necessary to build the strength that victory demands. You realize that it was not the shortcuts, the praise, or the luck that brought you here. It was your unwavering focus on yourself, your refusal to be distracted, and your commitment to rise above fear, doubt, and external noise. This understanding makes victory sweeter because it is earned, not handed, and it is owned entirely by you. Victory does not end with recognition. It begins with transformation. The person who wins is not only celebrated externally, but also transformed internally. They have developed resilience that cannot be broken, discipline that cannot be shaken, and vision that cannot be blurred. And while others may only see the results, you know the true achievement lies in the process. The inner battles fought, the sacrifices made, and the strength forged. The day of victory is a testament to the power of focusing on yourself until the very end. It is proof that persistence, discipline, and unwavering self-belief always lead to triumph. And when that day arrives, it is not just a moment of accomplishment. It is a declaration that all the effort, struggle, and focus were worth every step taken on your journey. The ultimate key to success is relentless focus. You cannot win by looking around, by listening to critics, or by chasing the illusions of other people's lives. The world will try to distract you, pull you in every direction, and convince you that your efforts are meaningless, but the truth is simple. Victory belongs to the person who refuses to look away from their path. You must dedicate yourself entirely to your growth, your discipline, and your mission, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many obstacles appear. Focus is not just attention, it is commitment. It is the ability to direct every ounce of energy toward becoming the person you were meant to be and to continue doing so until your goals are achieved. Every distraction you resist strengthens you. Every negative thought you ignore. Every temptation you refuse. Every moment you spend improving yourself rather than chasing validation builds power. The world will never pause for you. It will continue to move, to test, to challenge. But you have the choice to rise above, to become untouchable in your dedication. True winners do not wait for the right conditions. They do not depend on timing, luck, or approval. They act consistently, persistently, and purposefully, knowing that each day of focused effort compounds into results that cannot be denied. Focus is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And every step you take along that bridge is a step toward mastery of your life. It is not enough to simply work. You must work on yourself. You must develop the habits, the mindset, and the resilience that create unstoppable momentum. You must build skills, sharpen your vision, and cultivate the patience to endure when the results are not yet visible. Others will chase shortcuts and applause, but you will know that every small act of discipline, every quiet victory over distraction, and every choice to keep going strengthens the foundation for your ultimate success. Focus is like a flame. If it flickers, the world's winds will extinguish it. But if it burns steadily, it will light the path forward and melt every obstacle in its way. Keeping your focus until you win also means guarding your mind and your energy fiercely. Do not allow negativity, envy, or doubt to infiltrate your thoughts. Protect your attention like it is the most valuable asset in your life, because it is. Every decision you make to stay on course reinforces your trajectory. Every time you choose your vision over comfort, your determination grows. And when you finally reach the point of victory, it will not feel like luck or chance. It will feel like the natural outcome of relentless, unwavering commitment. The world may question your methods, misunderstand your journey, or fail to see your effort, but you will know that you succeeded because you kept your eyes fixed on yourself until nothing could stop you. Focus is the silent force that turns potential into reality. It separates the dreamers from the doers, the observers from the achievers, and the average from the extraordinary. To win, you must dedicate yourself fully to your own growth, to your own mission, and to the process that transforms you into a person capable of achieving the impossible. Ignore the noise, resist the distractions, and keep moving forward. Keep learning, keep building, keep persisting, and never, under any circumstances, lose sight of the person you are becoming. Your victory is waiting, but it will only belong to the one who keeps their focus on themselves until the very end.